The Untold Journal Entries, Pride and Prejudice, in a Bluestocking style. Humorous takes on a much-loved classic, written and performed by Stephanie Poppins. The Private Journal of Mr. William Collins, Rector of Hunsford. The day after the Netherfield ball. What a most vexing and incomprehensible day I have had today. I find myself still quite bewildered by the events that transpired, though upon further reflection I begin to perceive the root of this most unfortunate misunderstanding. Having presented myself to Miss Elizabeth Bennet with an offer of marriage, an offer which I flatter myself any sensible young lady of her station would receive with the utmost gratitude and joy, what greater honour, indeed, could be bestowed upon the second daughter of an entailed estate than to become the wife of a clergyman, blessed with the patronage of the most noble Lady Catherine de Bourgh? I was astonished to understand the said Eliza Bennet declined my proposal. At first I was convinced this must be merely the becoming modesty of a well-bred female, for no woman of sound judgment would refuse such an advantageous connection. But when I persisted, as is only proper when dealing with feminine delicacy, she maintained her refusal with a most unseemly vehemence. I have since occasion to reflect upon this puzzling behaviour, and I believe I have discovered the source of this unfortunate delusion. It is my considered opinion Miss Eliza Bennet has fallen victim to those pernicious modern notions that have been circulating among certain circles of learned ladies, those who style themselves as the Bluestockings. I recall now Mrs. Bennet once mentioned Elizabeth was prone to excessive reading, and had been corresponding with some female acquaintance in London and Bath, those who fancy themselves intellectual. Such dangerous ideas about feminine independence and the right of women to choose their own destiny are precisely the sort of corrupting influences that lead young ladies away from the cross to forget their proper place in society. No doubt these misguided friends have filled her head with some romantic notions about marrying for affection, rather than prudent consideration of fortune and establishment. It grieves me to think such a naturally intelligent young woman should be led astray by these radical philosophies. The Bluestocking movement, with its emphasis on female education and intellectual pursuits, has clearly given Elizabeth Bennet ideas above her station, and encouraged her to believe she might aspire to something beyond the sensible match I so graciously offer. I am astounded, nay, horrified, and am beginning to think I must approach the Bennet family in the future with some caution. Late evening entry. The day has worn on, and my initial shock has given way to a more settled understanding of my duty. I have spent considerable time in prayer and reflection, and I am now convinced I must seek the wisdom of my most esteemed patroness, Lady Catherine de Bourgh. Tomorrow morning I shall ride to Rosings Park and lay this entire matter before her ladyship. If anyone possesses the insight and authority to advise me on how to proceed, it is surely Lady Catherine, whose superior understanding and elevated position in society make her opinion invaluable in such delicate circumstances. I am confident her ladyship will share my assessment that Miss Elizabeth's refusal stems from these modern corruptions of thought that have infected so many young women of the current generation. Lady Catherine, with her proper understanding of social order and feminine duty, will no doubt confirm and advise that the Bluestocking influence has temporarily clouded Miss Elizabeth's judgment. Perhaps her ladyship will even suggest some means by which the Bennet family and the Bennet daughters might be brought to see reason. One word from Lady Catherine de Bourgh, explaining the folly of these newfangled notions about feminine autonomy, might serve to restore Miss Elizabeth to a more becoming frame of mind. I comfort myself with the knowledge I have acted with perfect propriety throughout this affair, and that the fault lies not in any deficiency of mine, but in the unfortunate modern tendency to elevate female education beyond its proper bounds. When women are encouraged to think themselves capable of philosophical reasoning and independent choice, such regrettable incidents as today's must inevitably follow. I must retire tonight with full confidence in Lady Catherine de Bourgh. I must take solace in her superior wisdom that will illuminate the proper course of action, and understand this temporary setback will soon be resolved in a manner befitting both my station and the natural order of society. I pray that Providence will guide my steps tomorrow at Rosings, and when this is complete, I will come to understand Providence has indeed smiled upon me in delivering me from what I will come to perceive a most unsuitable attachment. For such a rejection reveals itself as the shrewd calculation of a woman who knew herself to be beneath my station. I will see it would have been presumptuous for her to accept. A clergyman of my standing, blessed with the patronage of the Right Honourable Lady Catherine de Bourgh, what could Miss Elizabeth Bennet, with her wild manners and impertinent tongue, possibly offer such a union? Were there not reports of her behaviour at Hunsford Parsonage, walking across muddy fields alone? Her pert replies to Mr. Darcy himself? These are not charming displays of spirit, as I once foolishly imagined. This I will come to see and understand. They are clear indicators of her unfitness for genteel society. Indeed, my dear Charlotte, in contrast, possesses all the qualities that make for a suitable wife to a man of the cloth. Her practical nature, her proper deference, her understanding of her place. These are the virtues that matter. I will sleep soundly tonight, and in the morning I will begin again. I must look for one who appreciates the honour I have bestowed. Unlike Miss Elizabeth, Charlotte is a consideration. Yes, I must think again. Yes, indeed. I will think again.